Good afternoon, and welcome to my channel here on YouTube, Love and Guiding Light. Um, I am Keisha, and I just finished listening to the reading by Love, what is it? Swords Love Tarot 333, and not just her, but others. There are quite a few others that I listen to, but I was listening to her specifically because I believe I'm part of the pack, the wolf pack. So I am now part of that, and I am also on her Patreon subscriptions as a member because I feel so led that that is where I'm supposed to be. So I did subscribe, and so far, so good. I am loving everything that I'm learning with her. Anyway, the energy that has been with us is the crow energy. I woke up, got myself together, left out to get my day started, and I had gone to an appointment. I thought I had a doctor's appointment today, just to get to the doctor's appointment and be told it's tomorrow. Wouldn't it be that? But I remember when I was getting out the car, all I heard was crows crowing or cawing or whatever you want to say, they almost have a cry similar to a duck. It's just a call. And it's like, wah, wah, similar to something like that. But anyhow, I heard that. And I didn't listen to Miss Swords of Love 333 until after I had left the doctor's office. So oddly enough, I too have been picking up on that crow energy around us. So let me read to you what the crow energy is, okay? The crow keynote, the secret magic of creation is calling. Cycle of power all day and all year. It says in this book, this is my handy dandy go-to because I have so many encounters with animals that, yes, I needed some way to be able to reference the encounters. So bear with me. It's a little lengthy, but hopefully you all will grab something from this. This is information to help you on your spiritual path if you are on this spiritual awakened journey. So I'm hoping that you all have, by this time, gained some patience because that is something that's definitely necessary on this here journey. So let me read it to you. It says, my grandfather once told me that the crow was the smartest of all birds. What's more, it even knew it was the smartest of birds and enjoyed it to the fullest. In fact, it was so smart that it chose to stay a crow rather than move on to some other area of evolution. It has a unique ability to outwit most birds, animals, and even humans at times. And they make for themselves a wonderful living. It can be through no, forgive me. It could be thought of as another being who felt it was better to rule in hell than serve in heaven. Crows seem to have mastered it well. Crows intrigue us and they aggravate us. They and their other family members, the raven, have a great mysticism and mythology about them. There are actually 5 species of crows, one of which is the raven. Because they are of the same family, the only real difference being the size. It would be beneficial for those with the crow as a totem to also study the qualities and the mystical aspects of the raven. The first noticeable characteristics about this bird is the striking black color. Sometimes it will have hints of deep blue and purple on the feathers as well. Black is the color of all creation. Did you catch that? Black is the color of all creation. Okay? It is the womb out of which the new is born. It is also the color of night. Black is the maternal color, and thus the black night gives birth to a new day. Although the crow is a diurnal or daytime bird, it reminds us that magic and creation are potentials very much alive during the day. The crow, because of its colors, was a common symbol in the medieval alchemy. It represents neg- nigredo, nigredo, so Nigredo, Nigredo. I'm trying to pronounce that. So nigredo is what the initial states of substance, unformed but full of potential. In Roman mythology, raven and crows used to be as white as a swan. In fact, a white crow watched over Apollo's pregnant lover at Delphos. One day, the crow brought bad news to Apollo and was turned black. This connection to the watchfulness is still strong today. Crows always have a sentinel posted. Crows always have a sentinel posted. They build their nests high in the treetops so that they can see the entire area in which they are living and feeding. Occasionally, crows have been seen in attacking one of their own. They arose in an old belief that the crow being attacked was a sentinel who failed. It may also be a reminder of what can happen if we are not watching for magic in creation every day. Watchfulness warns other crows and other animals of intruders and threats, human and animals. They have been observed raising a ruckus when hunters are around, warning deer and other birds. They recognize possible dangers and they always post lookouts when feeding, their most vulnerable time. The ability to warn is connected to the crow's second most noticeable characteristics, its voice. The crow is actually a member of the songbird family because of its voice box structure. Although few things of the crow as a songbird, there have been many claims unsustained over the years that when it is alone, it will sing in a soft musical voice. Crows have a complex language. They have a remarkable voice range, but they actually do not sing. They can call in many different ways, each with its own meaning. Learning to understand the language of the crow is something we all can do with practice. Although it has a tongue, it does not use the tongue to make any sound. Pliny once wrote, I don't know who that is, might be author, Pliny, in case anyone wants to look up the name, because of course, me being the way that I am, I will be looking it up. Pliny once wrote that if the tongue of a crow was split, it would learn to speak like human. This, of course, was not true. All that would happen is that the crow would bleed. All that would happen is that the crow bleeds to death. The calling out of the crow should remind us that magic and creation are calling out to us every day. The great horned owl is probably the most deadly enemy of the crow. If an owl comes into the area of the crow, it will mob the owl and chase it off. Crows know that if the owl discovers its nest, the night could bring death. Many crows have lost their lives in the silent night hunts of owls. The crow has great intelligence, is adaptable to its environment. It will eat almost anything. Part of their ability to survive is their being omnivorous. They have a unique ability to communicate with each other and to work together. Their ability for watching and their intelligence has given them the reputation of thievery. They will rob food from other birds or whatever sources around, including human food supplies. Crows and all corvans are easily imprinted with the image of their keeper. Those who have had crows as pets have found them extremely trainable and with an ability to count and develop a complex communication with their owners. And yet, in the wild, even though they are constantly seen and heard, it is hard to get near them. Again, I have found that it reflects for most people, little awareness or realization of the magic necessary to create or recreate their own lives. The courtship and mating procedure also reflects much about the crow's association with magic. The male crow sets out to make itself as handsome as possible, and it's during this time that its voice takes on the singing qualities. Love makes the whole world sing. That's beautiful. Love makes the whole world sing. The male and female builds the nest together. The nest is built high up for protection and is kept very clean. Even young crows do not foul their own nest. A little meditation on this will reveal much about health in home and respect. Crows have a great mythology about them. This can reflect not only on past life connections for those times and cultures, but it also reflects some of the archetypal forces that it can connect with us. As with many animals, crows also have been known to predict tornadoes, rains, and other changes in weather by the way that they fly. Working with the crow can help you to see how the wind are going to blow into your life, how the winds are going to blow into your life, and how to adjust your own life flights. Crows have long been considered magical, and my grandfather once told me even finding a dead crow was a sign of good luck. Wow. We have spoken of crows and the link to Greek Roman mythology, but they have appeared in others as well. In China, a 30-legged sun crow was worshipped. It was a symbol of solitude. To the Athabascan Indians of Alaska, a crow in the form of a raven was the creator of the world. To the Celts, the crow was also associated with creation. In biblical lore, the prophet Elijah was fed by ravens and crows while hidden in the wilderness. In Norse tradition, the god Odin had 2 ravens who were his messengers. Wherever crows are, there is magic. There are symbols of creation and spiritual strength. They are symbols of creation and spiritual strength. They remind us to look for the opportunities to create and manifest the magic in our lives. They are messengers calling to us about the creation, the magic that is alive within our world every day and available to us. That is what the crow message is. That's the crow energy. So right now we are in a time of a very magical time, perhaps, depending on the person, the individual, what they are wanting to manifest into their life. God is saying that the energy is here for us to be able to do such with the energy of the crow. So meditating perhaps on the crow or even the raven, because like the book stated, the raven and crow are of the same family. I encountered the crow when I was going into the doctor's office calling. So, of course, I was like, okay, my messenger is delivering a message, so let me, look it up. Then I come to YouTube to watch Words of Love, and she is speaking of the crow energy. So I really had to look it up. So as soon as I was able to do so, I sat down, I looked it up. I just read it to you all without even really just sitting and reading it for myself, because I just feel led to do so, that this energy is not just pertaining to me, but pertaining to us all, since we are all on this spiritual journey. I was trying to see with the raven is how long that we might not have the raven in here. Now, see, raven. Yes, it is. So the raven is magic, ship-shifting, and creation. Cycle of power is the winter solstice. It says the raven is one of those birds that has a tremendous amount of lore, mythology surrounding it. It is often contradictory. It is a bird of birth and death, and it is a bird of mysticism and magic. In the Near East, the raven was considered unclean because it's a scavenger. It is one of the foods listed as forbidden in the Bible. The raven is one of the birds that Noah sent out after the flood, but it did not return to the ark. On the other hand, also in biblical lore, is the tale of how the raven fed the prophet Elijah when hiding from King Ahab. In Scandinavian lore, the raven plays a significant role. The Norse god Odin had a pair of ravens who were his messengers. Their names were Hugin, which means thought, and Munin, which means memory. Odin was known to shapeshift as a raven himself. This reflects the ideal of raven being a messenger of the great spiritual realm. The raven has a long history of being an omen. During the Middle Ages, the croak of the raven was believed to foretell a death or outcome of a battle. It was even taught to a common folk in Christian communities that wicked priests became ravens when they died. Even today, some old times tell how you can expect hot weather when a raven is seen facing a clouded sun. The raven is a member of the corvid family, to which belongs crow and the magpie and other such birds. In truth, the only really significant difference between the crow and the raven is its size, the raven being much larger. It would be beneficial to study the information of the crow for anyone who has the raven as a totem. Much of the same information that applies to one also applies to the other. It is simply a matter of degree. Rather than repeat this information here, I would like to give you some information not generally associated with the crow itself. The raven has a wealth of myth and lore surrounding it. In many ways, it is comparable to the coyote tales of the Plains Indians. The Bushman tales of the mantis and other societies in which an animal plays both significant and yet confusing roles. The coyote was both trickster and wise being, fool and wise one. This was true of the mantis in the tales of the Kalahari Bushmen. In the Pacific Northwest, the raven has this same aura about them. In the Pacific Northwest, raven brought forth life and order. Raven stole the sunlight from one who would keep the world in darkness. Nothing can exist without raven. Raven is honored in art and in totem poles, reflecting the tales of mysticism that have developed around it. With raven, human and animal spirits intermingle and become as one. This is reflected in its deep, rich, shiny black. The blackness, everything mingles until drawn forth out into the light. Because of this, ravens can help you shapeshift your life of your being. Shapeshift your life or your being. Raven has the knowledge of how to become other animals and how to speak their language. Okay. Ravens are great as vocalization, and they can be taught to speak. They have incorporated and mimicked the calls of other species. In the Northwest are tales of the Quacotul Indian who offered the afterbirth of male newborn to ravens so that when they grew up, they would understand their cries. Raven can teach you to understand the language of animals. Ravens are playful and they are excellent tool users. They will use stones and anything else that is available to help them crack nuts and such. They are birds not intimidated by others, and they are very fast and wary. Because of this, they are not easy prey for other animals or birds. This implies the ability to teach you how to stir the magic of life without fear. They are also known for their amorous behavior, reflecting the strong creative life force to which they have access. The creative life force can be used to work the magic of spiritual laws upon the physical plane. It can be used to go into the void and stir energies to manifest that which you most need. All this and more is what the Raven teaches. If Ravens has come into your life, expect magic. Somewhere in your life, magic is at play. Raven activates the energy of magic, linking it with your will and your intention. Ravens speak of the opportunity to become the magician and or enchantress of your life. Each of us has a magician within, and it is the raven which can show us how to bring that part of us out of the dark into the light. Raven speaks of messages from the spirit realm that can shapeshift your life dramatically. Ravens teaches how to teach that which is uniformed and give it the form you desire. The winter solstice in the winter season is a time of greatest power for those with the raven as a totem. The solstice is the shortest day of the year. The sun shines the least on this day. Thus, it is the darkest. From that day forth, the light shines a little more each day. This is symbolic of the influence of the raven. It teaches how to go into the dark and bring forth the light. With each trip in, we develop the ability to bring more light out. This is creation. So from reading The Crow as well as The Raven from Animal Speaks, I'm feeling as though God is saying, we are coming out of the winter season and times that we have had to go in and do self-evaluation, reflect over the past, year or so, go within. I don't know about you, but for myself, that is what I did during the winter time. And then we are now going into a period of time in which we are going to, be having things shown to us spiritually. On the spiritual realm, I believe gifts are going to start coming in. I did a little one on cherries the other day because I have been having a lot of encounters with cherries. They're constantly showing up everywhere I'm at, in the stores that I'm shopping at or whatnot. So, of course, that is synchronistic to me, and I looked it up and I shared it with you all. The energy in which the cherry brings is very positive, of good things to come, which is what I believe is going to be transpiring within the next couple of months or so. The energy that will be coming forth for us that are on this awakened journey, that are really doing the work, that are really going within and trying to become the best version of ourself, or our authentic self, the person in which God created us to be. I believe that is what is transpiring. And the crow and the raven energy is going to give us the ability to be magical with that. And how we bring that forth is really up to the individual. Everyone is creative in their own sense, just depending on the gifts in which they have. Me, myself, I am, I call myself the Jilliard because I am the Jill of all trades. It's pretty much not a lot of things that I am not capable of doing. I love to draw. I like to paint. I love to do a lot of different things as far as working with my hands. I love to make jewelry, custom pieces, so forth. So each and every one of us, we all have been equipped with a gift of such that God has blessed us with. And I believe that there are going to be some new things coming in for us, as far as our abilities to be able to communicate either with those that's already passed on or whatnot. It could be telepathic communication. It could be heightened ability to prophesy or to see things that transpire prior to them ever happening. So I believe that those things are going to be ushered in with that energy as well for those that are on this journey, Also, I believe that we're going to be well aware of those things when they transpire. It's not going to be as if you're going to be trying to figure it out, guessing or whatnot. I think that we will definitely be able to recognize these gifts once they are presented to us or are accessible to us. So, what else, Spirit? That is what I'm getting. The energies are going to be not heavy, but just, you'll feel different for sure. It may feel heavy to some and it may not. I mean, it depends on the person, what others may see as heavy and overwhelming, because this spiritual walk is not easy. It may be that you may feel like it's heavy and you don't know what to do with it or whatnot. So it just depends on the person and how they are, perceiving things as they transpire. I know along the first part of my journey, a lot of what was transpiring was overwhelming. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Just kept questioning God, what was going on? Why was this happening? Why me? Or whatnot. And he said, why not me? Why not me, Lord Jesus? Why not me? Well, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess why not me? Okay, I take that. Anywho, yeah, God can be pretty comical, as well as our ancestors. Like, they are like hilarious when you're asking them questions about your spirituality and is this really happening and all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, sweetie, it's happening. And when it's first started with the numbers, I was like, okay, girl, are you falling off your rockers? Like, literally losing your marbles, flying the coop, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But because it was transpiring so much that I was like, yeah, no, I cannot be losing my mind. So, of course, that led me into researching. And so I continued to research and research and research. And I've been at this for 5 years researching encounters in which I've had, either with numbers, especially animals. I have some videos online here on my not Facebook, sorry, but on YouTube. All the encounters I have had with different birds, insects, animals, whatnot. So if you ever feel compelled to do so, you can just kind of go through and look at some of those. And yeah, I think it was the white dove showing up at my job a couple of times in 2018 that I was like, okay, God, like, okay, I recognize that I think I'm losing my mind and I'm going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But now I'm seeing this white dove, and being that I'm in the state of Georgia, that is not our state bird. If I was in Hawaii, then that would not be an occurrence that I wouldn't expect, because that is their bird. Um, but I'm in Georgia, okay? And to see a white dove was pretty profound for me. And I did do the research on it. Matter of fact, I sent the video to a girlfriend of mine, and she was like, damn, I've never seen a white bird or white dove in the wilderness. I said, me neither. I Googled it to see if it was something that was normal. And of course, it came back that it wasn't. So that kind of, confirmed what I was already feeling. And then I started doing the research on the dove. Well, in Georgia, people do have doves as pets, or they can be bred for weddings or funerals, whatever. But generally, they're not in the wilderness. And I've seen them on, I want to say 3 or 4 occasions in the wilderness. Like I said, at my job, they showed up and on top of the building for that. And everybody was like, well, maybe it's just a pigeon. And, well, guess what? The dove and the pigeons are in the same family. So I did the research. I looked it up. And, I was just like, okay, God. But then I did the latitude and the longitude of the photo and calculated it. And would that not take me to the scripture in the Bible in regards to doves? I was just like flabbergasted for real. So I just tickled pink to that occurrence. And at that moment, I knew then that, that I was being communicated with through nature. Uh, and I've been on that journey ever since. Just at awe to know what it is and what messages are coming to me through the synchronicities of seeing certain things or certain animals or fruits, flowers, whatever it may be, I started looking into it. And those messages were so empowering and uplifting for me, especially during the time that I was really going through the toughest time in my life. I just, looking back on that time, it was very, very challenging during those times. And I needed those messages, and God knows that. He knew that I needed those messages of encouragement and upliftment, and those messages and such kept me in the rink to keep forging forward, keep in this fight. And that, as although things look one way, that they are not always as what they appear. We have a magnificent creator who gave us all life. And no matter what man think or how they think that they are and have the ability to manipulate and do things and change things and how God would have them to be. He's the head honcho. He is the main man, the uno numero one that controls and has control over the situation. And so things may look bleak and, questionable at this time, but I feel as though that these things are transpiring as growing pains. And we are going to be birthing a new world into reality, one that is full of love and compassion, empathy for one another, and which is how God truly wants this world to be. This is what he truly created this world to be. We're supposed to be loving and compassionate and empathetic towards one another, understanding, non-judgmental, all these things. And this world is topsy-turvy, each for their own and for themselves and, whatnot. Just completely opposite of what I feel, God wants for us as humanity. Anywho, I wanted to share that with you all because I think that the crow spirit is going to bring in some magical times for us all on this journey. And I'm so looking forward to it. I truly am. And as for that will end this session for now. And I am going to post this, and hopefully this will be helpful to anyone that feels drawn to listening to what I just read out of the Animal Speaks book. Anyway, until the next time, toodles.